Hello, dear students. Hope you all are doing well. The topic that I shall be discussing today is listening skills. So, to begin with, first of all, what is listening and why is listening an important skill? Listening may be defined as the ability to accurately receive and interpret messages in the communication process. Listening is one of the four skills of language, that is, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and is the key to all effective communication. So, do remember that the four important skills of language are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. In short, LSRW. That's the acronym. And listening is the key to all effective communication. Listening skill is important in order to avoid communication errors and help learn new things. The next aspect that I would like to discuss is what is the difference between hearing and listening. Hearing involves only our ears, but listening involves body's other senses too. Hearing is merely receiving sound waves through our ears, whereas listening means hearing and understanding whatever is heard. Listening can build better relationships with others, while hearing cannot. So these are the basic differences between hearing and listening. The next important aspect that I would like to discuss in my presentation is what are the different stages of the listening process. So, dear students, do remember that there are 5 important stages in the listening process. Receiving stage, which involves hearing; understanding stage, that involves learning; remembering stage, that involves recalling; evaluating stage, this involves judging; and the last is the responding stage, which involves answering. So these are the 5 important stages of the listening process. Now, the next important aspect that I would like to discuss is what are the basic types of listening. The basic types of listening are active listening, listening that demonstrates interest and encourages continued speaking; appreciative listening, appreciating what others say. We may also say that listening something for pleasure; attentive listening, that is listening carefully, showing attention; biased listening, listening only what you want to listen; casual listening, listening without showing attention; comprehensive listening, listening to understand or listening to seek meaning; critical listening, listening in order to evaluate, criticize, or judge what someone says; discriminative listening, listening for some specific information. It may also be called as selective listening, that is listening selective portion only; empathetic listening, listening to understand what the other person feels. We may also say listening that demonstrates empathy. Ignoring listening is not listening at all, and hence this type of listening is pretty insulting and leads to strained relations. There could be also other kinds of listening, but I have mentioned the most important ones. The next aspect that I would like to discuss is what are the barriers to listening. So there could be several barriers to listening. So first of all, physiological barriers. Some people may have genuine hearing problems, or deficiencies that prevent them from listening properly. Some may have problems in processing information or retaining information in the memory. Also, there could be physical barriers. These are referred to as distractions in the environment, such as sound of generator or AC, or maybe it could be cigarette smoke in the environment, or maybe an overheated room. Okay, so these could be physical barriers. Attitudinal barriers, a very common attitudinal barrier is egocentrism, or the belief that he or she is more knowledgeable than the speaker, or that there is nothing new to learn from the speaker's ideas. People with this kind of closed mind attitude are very poor listeners. So such close-minded attitude should be avoided. Also, wrong assumptions. The success of communication depends on both the sender and the receiver. It is wrong to assume that communication is the sole responsibility of the sender or the speaker, and that listener has no role to play. Such an assumption can be a big barrier to the listening process. Listeners have as much responsibility as speakers to make the communication successful. Also, we may talk about prejudgments about the speaker. Sometimes, judging the speaker by his or her mannerisms, or maybe his or her appearance, accent, voice, even that could be a barrier. Next is cultural barrier. Accents can be barriers to listening, since they interfere with the ability to understand the meaning of words that are pronounced differently. The problem of different accents arises not only between cultures but also within a culture. For example, in a country like India, where there is enormous cultural diversity, accents may vary, differ, even between regions and states. Also, there could be gender barriers. Communication research has shown that gender can be a barrier to listening. Studies have revealed that men and women listen very differently and for different purposes. Women are more likely to listen to the emotion behind a speaker's words, whereas men listen more for the facts and they mainly concentrate on the content of the speaker. Also, lack of training. Listening is not an inborn skill. People are not born good listeners. It is developed through practice and training. Lack of training in listening skill is also an important barrier. Another barrier could be bad listening habits. Most people are very average listeners who have developed poor listening habits. For instance, some people have the habit of faking attention or trying to look like a listener in order to impress the speaker and to assure him that they are paying attention. Others tend to listen to each and every fact and as a result miss out the main point or the main argument. Also, other barriers could be lack of concentration, lack of interest. So there could be several barriers. So after discussing the barriers, I would like to discuss what are ways to improve listening skill. So the different ways through which we can improve our listening skill. Firstly, face the speaker. That's very important. Stop talking and we need to be silent while listening. We should show interest, maintain eye contact. We should not have a closed-minded attitude. We should have a very open mind. We should avoid or eliminate any kind of distractions. We should try to empathize, very important. We should ask questions, take notes if possible, respond appropriately, send appropriate feedback, and also try to gather information about the topic so that we are interested in the area in which he or she is speaking. So, after this, I would like to discuss what are the benefits of effective listening. So, dear students, as we all know that listening is a very important skill and there are several benefits. Some of the benefits that I have mentioned are it enhances productivity, it improves relations, avoids conflicts, improves understanding, improves negotiation skills, adds to our image or personality. So, dear students, thanks for listening. If you have liked this lesson on listening skills, do share the video and subscribe to this educational channel. Hope to come up with more useful videos for all of you. Thank you so much.